Cool. So fill me in. What's the first thing that you need help with, and we can start getting this thing rolling for you?
Yeah, I would say how I get started with promoting my services online. And yeah, I guess I have to come up with, the pricing structure, what I want to offer, and how you're saying you'd have the premium service and then like a standard service. So yep. I think, trying to keep it as simple as possible will be key for me to begin with.
Simple always wins. The multi-million-dollar businesses are the simple ones.
Yeah.
You know, not that we're guys shooting for multi-millions, would be nice, but let's keep it simplified. And I know your targets that you want to hit personally and financially. I'm not going to share that here, but that's to keep it simple like that. To hit those targets would be very doable as well. So let's do this. Let's start with packaging and pricing. And then we can move on from there. Because that's the first thing. We need to figure out what it is, and then we can build everything from there. So we know, actually, before even that, your target market is what age are we talking about first and foremost?
I was thinking about that yesterday. Being in this area in Brisbane, I was thinking maybe targeting 40 plus.
Yep.
Because there are tons of young people as well, but I feel like they all have gym memberships and they like going to like F45 and all of those, types of gyms. We've got Pit Stop, like there's all those. There's a lot of competing gyms for
cool
group fitness.
Places to go to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So 40 plus is a great demo. I'll tell you from a marketing standpoint. Think of it like this: for anybody that's watching the recording. Almost everyone goes, I want to get that 25 to 35 age bracket. That's what everybody markets. But it's that 80-20 principle. 80% of the gyms or 80% of the whole fitness market is going after 20% of the population.
Yeah.
So if we can go out of that and fish in a pool where in a pond where nobody's fishing, well, then we got 80% availability over here. And that means the sales are going to be a lot easier because there's less competition. Sure. And I personally think the 40 plus clients, I'm sure everybody's got clients that are like fall outside of this, but the younger demos are a little bit more flaky. They can go from place to place. They know they've got plenty of options and they can go wherever there's a good deal or whatever. Whereas the 40 plus are a bit more old school, a bit more loyal, definitely a lot more loyal, usually better clients and they'll stay with you
long term
longer.
Yeah, definitely my experience so far.
Yeah, so I think that's a great start. So 40 plus, and are we going to be females, males, or both?
I think both. Cool. Yeah.
So in a word for marketing, if you've not done any paid advertising or much of it, it's okay to have two demographics, but we only ever advertise to one of them at a time. So we don't run an ad campaign that targets both men and women. Yeah. We separate it. So you've got imagery and wording and ad sales copy that speaks to the women. And then same for the men. You might like bloke it up a little bit for the men. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that way it's
that's what we did with the last set that we did when we did the Facebook advertising.
Cool. Yeah. So let's do this we won't get too deep into the marketing piece because we're sort of jumping ahead a few pieces, but we need to know this stuff first. So 40 plus, I'm going to say men and women. What else is some identifying factors about them? Like what's their sort of goals that they want to achieve?
I would say weight loss, but also for me, like for lifestyle. So assisting to get them active and find a routine. So it's more, for me, it's more holistic. It's not just one thing. It's not just exercising. It's nutrition and it's mindset as well.
Okay, cool. So I'll just say diet and mindset, which is key, right? If you don't have all those working together, then
you don't get results.
Training in the world, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And location-wise, I know where you are based in Brisbane. How far a radius are you going to go?
Maybe I think 5Ks. Do you think that's a good
that's plenty radius? in a metro like CBD like that? That's plenty.
Or even less? Do you think like 4?
I think less once the gyms open up again. But for online, you could probably go like 5-10Ks and broaden it a little bit.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then those ones could. The way we because what I was saying in those videos that I've put out is we still want to advertise to the local area, for our online products. So when your gyms open up, you can bring people in. But also the second thing is you got better rapport when you're having sales conversations with them, because you'd be like, oh, we're just here in the city. Oh, great. And you've got that little bit of, instead of trying to speak to somebody in Perth or whatever, like makes you a lot more local. And if they're a little far away, they can still remain as an online client still.
That's true.
So you get that benefit of
that's my dogs.
Oh, don't worry. It's all good.
Nikki, Ellie, stop. They're like tiny little dogs, but they think they're guard dogs. If they hear a noise outside of the door, they go crazy.
I love it. Okay, so 40 plus men and women, weight loss, lifestyle, diet, and mindset. Say like 5 to 10 kilometer radius around your location. And what do you want to do in terms of packaging now? Because that's very basic, and we could go a lot deeper into that stuff, the demographics, but for now that's good. Let's talk about packages. So what's the two options you're thinking in mind for maybe your more basic and then your more premium?
Yeah, sure. So basic would be, I think I sort of got the ideas from your video that you did with Jono. So having a basic package of where you provide workouts that are pre-recorded, or I'm not sure if I do some Facebook Lives in a private group. They get access to that, and if it's in any other content I put into the Facebook private group, but then have a premium package where on top of that they get 1 or 2 one-on-one sessions, online sessions, or if they're local, I can train them down at the park.
Cool. So the basic is like pre-recorded content, plus they get the live stream stuff, and they get the community of the Facebook group. And then the premium is all that plus, what did you say?
I was thinking a couple of one-on-one sessions, and then like maybe like, what you were saying, like having a chat each week or each fortnight about accountability and keeping them on track. Yeah.
And so the basic package, are they getting any of the diet, mindset, lifestyle stuff? Is that the pre-recorded things?
Yeah, so I've had to work out like how I do that, whether I record some videos about nutrition, mindset, or whether I'm just popping content into the private group. Sure. So I think, I'd like to
I'll tell you my advice of what I think would work best, and what I've seen other gyms that are already implementing is the basics. They still get diet stuff, they still get some other things, but it's just templates and like guidelines and things like that. It's just it's nothing custom. But that should be the difference between basic and premium. Is this basic is you get all the content, premium is you get all the content and you get a personalized coach.
Personalized coach,
So you get the coach that personalizes your diet, personalizes your training, and has the actually one-to-one touch points with them.
Yes.
So that's the level of premium that you can literally go anywhere up to like $100 a week for that one. And I think like a good spot if you want to try and work your way up to that is you could sort of start around that $50 a week. If you wanted to do that. And then the basic one could be somewhere around say $30 a week. And then your value proposition when you go to sell it is like, hey, look, for an extra $20 a week, you get me on your ass all day long. And
some people, people would like that, wouldn't they? Because especially at this time when people are feeling a bit more isolated, they probably want that extra attention.
And I would say $50 a week is definitely at a discounted rate of what it should be, but you sort of have to play with the marketplace and see where it's at.
And would I say that, like, say if I'm sharing it with my my social media sort of followers and things and people like that, people that I know, would I say that because it's my first program that I'm discounting it? Like, would that be a good?
Well, that's exactly what I did for all you guys in here.
Yeah.
It's 75% off or more. Like, 75% off. Like normally these courses sell for a whole lot more, but it's just like, come on in, test run it. As you know, this is the first time we've all gone online, and it's perfect to do that with people that you might already know as well, like your clients, because you've got a relationship with them, and they've got a little bit more lenient. They'll be a little bit more forgiving. So, and then if you just say, hey, look, we're going to get you in at the $50 a week, but you're going to get full everything, customized, full, like whatever you need, how many days a week you want to train, we'll make the program for you, the diet for you like that. And each week we'll have a 10-minute or 15-minute check-in where we review your stuff. And then you give them all the, like, if you in the course here, there's different variations of how you can deliver it with like technology, which makes it a lot easier for you. Like if you use one of the things like Trainer Eyes or True Coach or one of the apps, which can really make it a lot easiver, but it's personalized. And that way,
I was going to ask you that as well, like how you go about nutrition, obviously not overstepping the mark of, dietitian sort of thing. Like how do you manage that?
So you can, there's video trainings in here in the course of what it's all about, but there are some things where you can use dietitian approved apps and they'll spit out dietitian things as long as you don't mess with it. So there's there's a few options that you can get. And then we've also like got a client who's got close to 400 online clients. He transitioned his gym just over in Canada a couple of weeks ago, and they use Trainer Eyes and they use MyFitnessPal. They integrate together, and so they can use the whole thing just in the Trainer Eyes app. So Trainer Eyes looks like it's the best option. And there's a Trainer Eyes video where that same client of mine takes you for a 30-minute behind the scenes look at how to use Trainer Eyes. I mean, and I've said Trainer Eyes about 1,000 times already, but I'm not endorsed by them. I wish I did, but
I like the idea of having it all tidy and looks more professional that way.
It looks good, and I think if you want to go down the road, you can white label it and put your own logo on it for an extra like $200 or something. But you don't have to. Like you can just keep it as Trainer Eyes and just keep it like that. So I think that's when you start to look at it like, oh, okay, you're going to get a personalized app when you're going to have me checking in on you every day. We're going to be, messaging you. We're going to be calling you. We're going to be doing all these check-ins. Then you can start to stack the value and you're like, plus you get all the pre-recorded content. We're doing live Q&As, just like what we do here as well. You can do Friday night drinks if you want to have Friday night drinks and cheers a kombucha or whatever you want to do, right? Your favorite protein shake. Or you can have, I've seen other gyms where they've done, pub trivia where everyone has got they had like a beer, everyone got a beer each, and like make like social as well, because that's what
and definitely during the isolation it's like really cool.
It needs to be like and that should be for everybody regardless if they're on the basic or the premium, because you want to bring as many people together. So that's what I would be looking at, like the basic program. Look, I think, if you say $30 a week for basic and you say $50 a week or $60 a week for premium, you choose. But I think the premium should be no cheaper than $50. Like I'm saying that as the basement price. And if you want to go up to like somewhere like up to $99, $100 a week, you can. Because you got to think like, how much would you charge for a one-on-one session?
That's it. Like with the $50 a week, I charged for a 30-minute session. I charge $50. So, that's in the studio though, so I don't know whether I'd make it cheaper because I don't have overheads in the studio.
No, but that's not what it's based on. It's based on value to the client. The client doesn't care about your overheads. They never sit there and go, she's built in 15% for overhead and this, like they just go, well, that's how much I got to pay because of the value. So we got to have the value proposition propped up for them. So they're like, okay, I can see the value in that and that's worth it. And that's when the exchange of money and value will happen.
Okay.
So I think that's pretty good. You're feeling pretty good with that? Yeah, cool. So now we've got the packages. We know the demographics. We know the radius. The next step from here is now we got to get some people into it, your current clients. So how many people do you have? We do a thing called like a bit of an assets. And everyone that's watching this as well on the recording, when I say assets, they're not hard assets like products or equipment or anything. I'm talking about some probably more valuable, which is like database of clients or ex-clients that you have access to. Your social media channels, like if you've got a good couple of thousand people, that's considered an asset because they follow you, they've got a relationship with them. And now you can like extend your first offer out to these guys and actually get them onto your program. And you might like Matt in Canada, I just told you, he transitioned nearly 400 people without having to spend any marketing because they were in-gym clients. He had a whole lot more than that. Like he's got a massive, but do you know what I mean? You can get your first,
a lot of people.
You can get your first however many people, depending on your database size and your assets that you have at your disposal. And so it would be text messages, like, so stuff, just contacts in your phone.
Yep.
That's asset list number one. Asset list number two would be an email database of current and past clients. And that you could also include in that leads, people that maybe applied but never became an actual client. Because I think you guys did some marketing.
And we've got all of them in a spreadsheet. Yeah.
Perfect. So they're your first point of contact, because it's free. You can send them as many things as you like, as long as it's done ethically. It doesn't cost you anything more, because you've already paid money to acquire that asset. That's why we call it an asset. So your phone, so you can text people. You've got email database. Social media following is another one. So if you've got any sort of following at all, even if it's only a couple of hundred or whatever, that's still good. And surprisingly, which has been really good, is Messenger, which again is like your personal messenger.
Yep. Okay.
So that's kind of, what have we got there? We've got four. We've got text, we've got email database. There's a couple of databases within email. Then you've got social media where you can post publicly, and then you're like DMs. So if anybody you've been sort of chatting to or whatever, this is where you can sort of hit them up again as well.
Yeah. Sure.
And this is where we go into the next phase of like, what do we say to them? So this is where you have to come up with like a zero resistance offer, like a no-brainer. And there's a couple of ways that we can do this actually. And I've been talking to a few other people just this week. And one way that could be really cool to do it, and it works really good in everything, I've seen it, but I haven't tried it for the online PT, but it will work, is to do the beta test post, like what I think you saw of mine on my personal. That Scotty shared, because it's like, hey, I just need a first couple of people to go through it and just be completely honest. It's brand new. We just want some people to test it, give us some feedback, and you know, for doing that, you're going to get 50% off what we're actually going to charge when we go to market with it. All we ask is that you just give us a killer testimonial at the end of it as a little bit of a thing that we can do our marketing on top of it. So then they.
Your pods just went flat. So
that's okay. For these, that's why I always go on this when I'm doing the recordings, just so it doesn't die.
Technology, the fancy things aren't always better.
I know. And so I think to do a beta test would be great. And I can share with you a beta test template that you can put out and then you can then craft. So let me, it's not in the group yet, but I'll put it in there within the next 24 hours.
Yep, that'll be great. Thank you.
Beta test template. And the cool idea with this is that full transparency that I say to you guys, like what I tell you guys, I do for me too. It's not like, hey, I'm just read a book and I'm just telling you about it. It's like, this is what we're doing. You should do it too. Like, it works. And when I say I do it for my own business, and I'm doing it for my clients who I do in the agency. And so it's working on multiple levels. So you should do it too. And the beta test template, when you get this out, the whole idea is to get it out before you have your program completely finalized, because it's in testing mode. You don't have it all. You're going to get people like, for example, when I was building this out 10 days ago, when I first started building this out, I didn't have the beta test thing in there. But it only came out to us like yesterday after another client would mention something. And I was like, okay, that's got to go in. And because then you start getting the feedback from the clients when they're in there. And that's what you need to have peace with, of knowing that it's not complete, but you've got to sell it still anyway.
Yep.
That's why you discount it initially. And so that's what I would recommend. When I say discount it 50% off just for existing networks of those assets.
Okay. Yep.
When we go advertise, then we advertise at full rate.
Okay. Yep.
But we don't tell them the price in the ads, but that's a few steps down the track.
Yep.
So let's recap here. Demographics, done. We know who it's for. And so when we build out what's in it, we got to make sure what's in it is good for them.
Yeah.
Not just good for us as the business.
Yeah.
So that's when you can start looking at inclusions. Okay, what do they need, these 40 plus? Do they need like supplements? Do they need more like safety equipment or some sort of special equipment that, you know, maybe a 20-year-old wouldn't need? You start looking at what are their needs to help them get the best benefit out of it. And then you can start to package up your offers exactly for what your ideal client wants.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my concern would be, from my experience, is ensuring that they are performing the correct form. And obviously, if you're doing online fitness sessions, you're not giving them cues on their form, which is, I guess, how you'd sell doing the higher one where you're doing a one-on-one session with them.
Yep.
But also would mean me doing more a breakdown of videos of like how to perform a squat correctly and things like that.
Yeah, and maybe you could include like a workshop, like an online workshop is like, okay, we're going to do body movement workshop. So it's not a session. Now we're going to start with a squat pattern. Everyone show me a squat, and you can see all like 10, 20, 50, or however many people you have on. And you can pick out like, okay, you do a squat, cool. You do a squat, cool. And you can do it in a group like that for the group people. Like, or you could do them one-to-one, but the one-to-one will just take a lot of time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yep.
So maybe it could even be part of your indoctrination process, and that's in more modules that come as well. Like when you're onboarding people, you sign them up and you go, cool, next steps from here is whatever it is you want them to do. And just so they know with clarity, so you can be like, you're going to get information, you're going to be sent to the Facebook group or wherever you're housing your info. And we're actually going to book you in for a one-to-one 10-minute movement screen. Maybe do that because you're not looking for high volume and numbers. You're just looking, and that's definitely within your time frame that you could do. And that way you could just give them little tweaks, even if they are on the basic package.
Yep.
That could also be like the thing where they're like, hey, look, you get to do this with me every week. If you want to go to the premium, it could be a good little way to just bump them back up if they're sitting on the fence.
Okay. Yep.
Because the premium option is best for everybody in my eyes, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
For the general population, that is.
Yep.
Say for someone like you and you got an online coach, you wouldn't need the premium one-to-one touch points and stuff like that for like technique or whatever, unless you were going. The only times that people, trainers like us would get it would be if we're prepping for a show or something.
Yeah.
Where you got a competition. But yeah, so we've done the demographic. We've packaged up the two offers. We've got price points there, and the way we're going to go to market with this is with our beta test.
Okay. Yep.
That would be, in a nutshell, the little pre-launch that we can get.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Does that make you feel confident? Just sort of already just having that sort of put together.
Yeah, definitely, and it's fairly simple and straightforward.
Simple always works. Like every time I try and get fancy, I end up like just making myself stressed out and not working. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we've talked about that. What's the next question that's on your mind?
So yeah, how do I go about selling it? Am I talking to people on the phone to close them, or is there an email that I follow up with? How does that work?
Good question. So again, simple always wins. Get on the phone. It's low tech. You can talk to people. You can build a relationship with them a lot quicker. And it doesn't require salesmanship in terms of like marketing ability, because even to sell like a $5 book, you probably notice online, they've got pages and pages and pages of sales copy, because that's how good you got to get at selling stuff without a phone call. The phone call cuts out all that technology, and you can just go, hey, and that's the first step in the relationship. And we've got a whole sales training as well in here, where we've got phone sales training, because that was my job before I was a PT, was in sales.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
So I've lived a little. So we've got phone sales training in there. We've got scripts. And I would probably hazard a guess, when I was doing a course like this for other trainers probably close to 3 years ago, the conversation ended up being a lot about, okay, either marketing or sales. Like how do we, like phone sales, how do we approach the phone stuff or the techie marketing stuff? And so once you get your business model set up, that's done. Like it's good. That's your wheelhouse. You know how to, you're the expert in PT and nutrition. Then it starts becoming one of those two conversations. But I think, how do you feel like You're a personable person. How do you feel about being on the phone, speaking to people once they've inquired?
Yeah, I think I always get a bit nervous about trying to sell things to people, but I have done it before as well. I've worked for a wine company where I have to I used to cold call people and I just hate it, so I have done it before. So,
okay, cold calling is the devil.
Oh.
So this is like warm audience, people that already sort of know you. This is why we always start with this approach.
Yeah.
And there's another thing that we can do, which is very simple, even simpler than the beta test post, because the beta test post would be a good like 5 or maybe like 2 paragraphs, maybe when you're like typing it out. So like call it like 5 to 7 sentences or whatever. But the other one is called the 9-word email, but don't confuse the word. It was originally used for email, but we send it out in email, but you also send it out as text as well. So it can be the 9-word text.
Okay.
And it's not exactly 9 words. The original one was though. And it's just say you're on my list and I was targeting, say, women that wanted to lose weight. Let's just say that. Okay. I would write, hi, Katie. Are you still looking to lose weight and tone up, or to whatever, blah, 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 right? Whatever the benefit is, question mark, chat soon, Jimmy.
Okay.
And so it's very simple, because then you send that out and it's very personable. Especially when you put it as a text or an email. The email has no fancy images or banners or anything. And the subject line is just literally, hey.
Okay.
Hey, ...
Yeah.
You know, hey, Katie, you still looking to lose weight and tone up? Chat soon, Jimmy. And then all that simply is supposed to do. Now for men, it's like, hey, still looking to drop the beer gut and build the arms and chest and shoulders?
Yep.
Whatever the benefit is to your demographic.
Sure.
And then all that's supposed to do is just get back responses of people like saying, yeah, I am. Cool. Now you got a communication open. Now you can drop the beta test on it.
Okay.
And so that could be another way to go about it as well. I just haven't tested that in this market as it is right now, with Corona being so kind of fresh still.
Yeah.
But that one works a treat. Like if you've got any sort of email list, like I had a guy do that for February over in the UK. He got like 15 new clients in his gym just by using that. Just activating old clients, just getting them back in. And so that way it could be like, hey, you know, if it is an old client and you haven't trained them, they'll get, then they start the conversation, and that's a much easier sale because you've already got a relationship with them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I do find it when we did this marketing, when we paid this guy to do the Facebook leads for us, it was actually attracting old clients to come back. They were seeing it and going, yeah, I want on that. Whereas we couldn't get new clients because we didn't have the trust there, I guess.
Yeah. And so that's where some salesmanship does come into it, but it's some marketing ability to attract better quality clients, to sort of pre-frame them a little bit. But then also, it comes down to some salesmanship. And when I say salesmanship, it doesn't mean being salesy. It just means understanding the proper sales process. There's flows. There's sort of like 5 main chunks of how the conversation should flow. But that's to come in more trainings and modules for you. But for now, I think if we can get out, look, I'm in 2 minds. I'll leave it into you. But would you like to go out with the beta test post to this list, to your assets? So when I'm talking like a text thing or whatever, so it's going to be a little bit lengthier. Or would you like to go with that 9-word email style?
Good question. I really like the idea of the beta post, but yeah, if you think the 9-word works well, because I do have quite I do find I have a good relationship, good rapport with a lot of people. Like I'm trusting, so maybe that would work well.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be a great one. It's just that extra little. It's so like personal. It's like just looks like a mate's just sent the text or sent the email. They'd be like, hey, Katie, yeah, I haven't heard you from you in a while, but yeah, I am. How you doing? How's the kids? Or you might get people just writing back, yes. And you're like, okay, you're not giving me much to work with, but cool. And then then you can like either give them a call. You're like, cool, hey, I just see that you said yes to my text. Thought it's easier if I just give you a quick call and just say g'day, and like just wanted to tell you a little bit about what's going on. Obviously, with this whole coronavirus thing that's going on, we've actually all gone online, and I just wanted to find out a little bit more about what you're doing with your health and fitness, and see if you might be see if this beta testing we've got for our online is going to be a good fit for you.
Okay.
And then you can just get in a conversation like, what have you been up to? What are your goals? You know, all that sort of stuff. And then you can present to them the offer. Like, hey, this is what it is. This is what it's normally going to be, but we're going to do it half off because it's beta test, and because, you know, you've been a past client as well. We want to offer it to you before we start going out to the public with our marketing. And then, and this is the price. How does that sound fair? You know, does that sound like something you want to do? And they're like, yeah, or no. And that's it. Like, there's no real magic else to it. Like, there's more detail to that, but like, that's the process in a nutshell.
Sure. Yeah, no, that sounds pretty good and pretty simple.
Yeah. So I'll send both the templates for the beta test and the 9-word email. I'll put that in the group and then I'll tag you in it, because you can. This is probably what I would recommend. This is what I recommend. Do the 9-word email out to your databases, like your text message database and your email database, but then do the beta test post on your social media.
Okay.
Because you don't need to write, you can't write a post on your personal page, hey, you're still looking to lose weight? Like, that's kind of weird. But
that's how people used to use Facebook, isn't it? They'd like put on your timeline, hey, how are you?
Yeah, I know. Or like, Jimmy is eating food right now. Oh, I remember that. And then there's a few hacks with the beta test post as well. You can post it multiple times. I only needed to post this one once because I actually asked all the guys that I knew that I was doing some form of business with already to share it. So I had like 10 shares or so. Not everybody shared it that I asked, but like still ended up getting like 10 shares, which helped put it out.
That's right.
That's how you saw it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it just helps get the algorithm get behind it, because if you just post on it and you get crickets, it's really hard to get traction on it. And you really got to make sure you engage with every single person. When they write, yeah, I'm interested, like it, comment on it, and that helps put it back in the top of the news feed for everybody. And then you send them a message and have the conversation in Messenger.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
And then the whole idea is to then not sell them in Messenger, is to just get them on the phone and then talk them through the whole program then. Because it's like Facebook into Messenger, and then the Messenger is for them to give you a phone number, just like what you did for me. And we got on the phone and we just had a chat and figured out if it's the right thing for you.
Yep. Yeah, easy, and it's really personal. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how it should be for this stuff, because it's already existing assets that you have.
Yeah.
That type of post might not work. It can work good as ads. I've seen people use it as ads, but that's not the whole reason why it was created in the first place, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you definitely leverage off the databases and social media. Like, I mean, yeah, we've got plenty of people that we can target with that.
Perfect. So I think this is the way that everybody should go to market. And if you've already had clients on hold, you don't need to text them. Like, if you've had clients that you've been working with in the last like 2 weeks before everybody had to go on hold or gyms closed, you would just call them straight away. Okay. You don't even need to send the post out or the text. You just call them and go, hey, Mary, look, obviously gyms are closed, but I just want to touch base to see if you've been doing anything. I've got something that interests you, but blah, 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 blah. And just tell her what's going on. And that's like, they're your hot prospects who people actually been working with and transacting with most recently.
Yep.
And then you would go and do your 9-word email, 9-word text, and at the same time do your beta test post onto your Facebook.
Sure. Okay.
So I'll do the beta test post I'll do a video, I'll record on it, because I'll show you sort of the template and a few of the particulars. But for now, get this 9-word email out, because that's like database that can happen. And sometime tomorrow or the next day, you'll get the beta test training.
Okay, cool. Thank
Cool.
you.
That worked out a lot more. That was a lot more, what was I going to say? A lot more structured than how I thought this was going to go. This is good. So
Yeah.
actually, I'm going to use this as a module.
Awesome.
And this is a tip for you as well. And for anybody watching, your live stuff can then eventually become your pre-recorded content, because we're recording this right now. You can deliver a live session, a live training, a live workshop, a seminar, and then you can pre-record it and put it in as like, I like to call it like the Netflix library, where it's constantly adding new episodes each week or every couple of days or whatever. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah, and that way you don't have to think you have to have everything ready right now. You build it as you deliver it.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Awesome. So have you got everything you need from me right now?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Well, let's wrap it up there. I'll be sure to send off the the 9-word email in the group. I'll tag you in that. And then I'll do a training video on the beta test, so you know exactly a bit more detail on how to write the post, and you can use my template, etc.
Right. Thank you.
No worries, Katie. Glad to be of service to you. Day one, already getting into it. I like it.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, just throw them up in the Facebook group. I'll be in there every day answering questions, and we'll be doing these Q&As a couple of times a week as well.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Jimmy.
No worries, Katie. Have a good night.
See ya. Bye.
Yeah.